Okay, part 3 of this section, I'm going to look at a simple idea that's known as the vertical line test. And this is how you can look at a graph and determine real easy if it represents a function or not. So let me read what this is then. So basically, if any vertical line passes through exactly one point, then the graph represents a function. And that key word on that is any vertical line. Okay, so if you can find a vertical line that passes through two or more points, then the graph does not represent a function. And I want you to understand that instead of just memorizing the test. So basically, if you look at this problem right here, and I'm going to just sort of estimate, it looks to me like that point right there might be the point 2, 2. This point right here looks like it might be the point 2, negative 2. I'm not sure. But here's the thing. If I was to take a vertical line and go straight through this function, that goes through 2 points. So since it goes through 2 points, that is not a function. Now you need to understand that the reason it's not a function is because the same output, the same input of 2 gives 2 outputs. And you can't have that. So you kind of got the input of 2 going into 2 directions. Okay, so you cannot have that mapping to 2 and negative 2. Now what you would find on this is, you got other vertical lines. If you go through, they keep going through 2 points. The only place it appears to go through 1 point is right there. So that fails the vertical line test. Okay, right? So now the next one, what we'll do on this is just start drawing vertical lines. Okay, that goes through 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. Okay, it looks like every vertical line that I draw, no matter where I draw it, looks like it's only going to go through 1 point. So what this is saying is each input, which would be an x value, has exactly one output, which is a y value. And that's what that does. So that one would be a function. That's a yes. Okay. So you want to understand how this relates to the definition of a function. Okay. Students usually do this fine with no problem, but sometimes I can't tell if they really understand the y part of this very well. Okay. So let's go to this one. Okay. Now this one is more like a business example. These are ice cream bars, the number that's being produced, and I guess this is the average cost of this. Okay, well, if you did vertical lines, can you find a vertical line that will go through 2 or more points? Doesn't look like you can. Okay, so that again means that each input has one and only one output, so that's a function. Okay, so that one is yes. That passes the vertical line test. Okay. How about the next one? What do you think? Okay, that's a no. Okay, I'll kind of reiterate that one more time. Like this point right here is the point 0, 1. This point right here is the point 0, negative 1. So again, what happens on this, you have the same input, but you have 2 different outputs. Okay, so that's not a function for that reason. So the 0 goes to 1 and the 0 goes to negative 1. You can't have that. So that's not a function. And again, this one would fail the vertical line test virtually everywhere except this point here. So all you got to do is find one vertical line that crosses through 2 or more points. Okay, so on this one, now what I'm going to have you all do on this, I'm going to have you pause the video. And what I want you to do is plot these points and then determine if that set of points, if you think it's a function or not. So once you get your points drawn, look at your vertical line test and see if it passes it or fails it. So go ahead and pause, and then that'll take care of this. Okay, so you want to check 2 things. First of all, it's not a function because it does fail the vertical line test. Make sure all your points are in the correct location. And then these are the 2 vertical lines that cause the problem. So if you look at this, point A and that point C, again, what that means is if you have an input of negative 4, you have two different outputs. Okay, so you want to understand that. And then E and B work the same way. Okay, so notice on those 2 points, you have the same input, -3, but then you have two outputs, one going to 0 and one going to 3. So that would be why it is not a function. Okay, all right, so that will do that. Very simple to deal with the vertical line test. The end.